Hello, Tampa. This is Jeff Stanislow and your host for the Let's Go Low show right here on AM 820, bringing you another great episode about golf, the thing that you love, and that's why you're here tuned in, and we appreciate you being part of the show. Today, we have a special guest, and we're talking to Evan Roosevelt. He is the co-founder and managing partner of Old Tom Capital. So, one of the things we like to do here on the radio show is to get behind the scenes, behind the curtains on what drives the industry. And as we all know, a lot of it comes down to financials and monies and creating brands. And that takes some capital to do so. So, Evan, thanks for joining us today here on the Let's Go Low show.
Hey, thanks for having me on, Jeff. Excited to be here.
Well, fantastic. You're a golfer. You've been in the golf industry for a while. Old Tom Capital is focused on investments and investment-related projects within the golf industry. But before we kind of dive into that, wanted to tell us about you just went to Stream Song and with some people, and how was that? How was the experience at Stream Song? It's in our backyard right here in Tampa, just about half hour to an hour away. So let us know.
Yeah, it was great. Stream Song, it's one of my favorite properties in the country. There's obviously some great golf down there. It's kind of, as you probably know, being in the industry, a bit of the epicenter for folks as they head down for the PGA show every year. You get a lot of industry folks coming through there. And I spent some time on property, but always nice to be back. Kemper Sports does a fantastic job managing it. They have the new course opening up, Bone Valley, which I didn't get a chance to play, but you can see it from the black course. Looks phenomenal out there. Excited to be back on the property once they do open it up, and had a great time. Was out there with a few members of our team on a little mini company retreat, and the golf always stacks up. 3 great courses, and now the short course opened up. Had a great time.
Yeah, fantastic. It is a great property. Actually, a couple of years back, I was up in Michigan and played Forest Dunes.
Okay, cool.
Fantastic course, and they have the loop up there. And I know it's a Kemper property. The people from Stream Song and Kemper were actually there doing their stuff while we were there. So I thought that was pretty cool. But yeah, very, very good company. Has some great properties and what have you. So how'd you shoot at Stream Song? Was it tough for you or what?
I had a great time. I'll leave it with that, Jeff. I don't get out and play as often as I should. I have a young kid, another on the way, and the business that keeps him busy, and never practice, unfortunately, and hard to be good at this game if you don't practice. Talk 100%. About golf a lot, don't play a lot.
100%. A lot of our listeners can empathize with that situation. Yeah. So I appreciate it. We're talking with Evan Roosevelt, the co-founder and managing partner of Old Tom Capital. This is Jeff Stanislow, your host of the Let's Go Low show, brought to you by Golfers Unite. Get a chance, check out golfersunite.com. We'll have this episode and all of our episodes up on Golfers Unite. So diving into the business, you're in the investment space. You deal with money around the golf game. And probably one of the hottest topics going on right now, Evan, is the LIV and the PIF deciding not to fund it. What are your thoughts on what do they got going? What are some of the challenges that they need to overcome? Just from your perspective, where you do golf deals.
Yeah, I mean, it's listen. I applaud the idea of trying to start something new, generally speaking, and unequivocally. I think as anyone that has an idea that brings it into the world, it's admirable, right? And they had big ambitions for what they were trying to accomplish with it. I also think it's interesting from a macro perspective that the separation in the professional landscape of golf, which as a golf fan, I'm not a huge fan of, but what it did do is it actually led, I think, to a bit of a rising tide with the amateur and the recreational side of the game. More people playing golf, I think, because they were kind of frustrated that all the best players weren't all playing together, which I would love to see happen as a fan of the sport. I think LIV is in a tough position, right? They spent a lot of money attracting some really incredible players to come play on the platform, and obviously they're going through a bit of an evolution now. time will tell whether their kind of refreshed look and new direction pays off, and whether that works, and whether they're able to raise the capital they need to be able to continue as a league. I don't think it's a clear shot for them. I think it's going to be challenging when you think about the player contracts and the obligations they have as a league, of whether or not they're going to be able to meet those. I think for them to be able to be successful next year and into the years future, they're going to have to fundamentally restructure and rethink who they are, and how they're showing up, and how they're presenting their product, because what they've been doing is clearly not sustainable. The massive player contracts, the build outs from a corporate hospitality standpoint, the way they're structuring the events without major broadcast partners, and the economics of it just do not pencil. And so I don't have a sense of what their new product is going to look like, but I can tell you that it will look fundamentally different than historically what they've been doing, and remains to be seen whether or not they're going to be able to pull it off.
Yeah, I agree with you. Kind of one of my strategies that I was thinking about is like, okay, well, you tried coming in over the top, right? And that didn't work out for you. So you have to kind of rethink things. But I think, there's definitely a underlying opportunity, I think, in the Corn Ferry kind of world, where they might want to try to go younger, develop these players, maybe pay the players, a salary, and then be part of their, earnings in the future. You know what I mean? Something a little bit different, but we'll see what the Live comes up with this year and the next year. And hopefully it sustains, because I think it is good for golf. We're talking with Evan Roosevelt, the co-founder and managing partner of Old Tom Capital. Behind the scenes, looking at the monies, seeing if things pencil in and what have you. Appreciate you coming on. This is Jeff Stanislow, your host of Let's Go Low, brought to you by Golfers Unite, golfersunite.com. Give it a check it out. We have free memberships and some premium membership opportunities where you can get access to over 18 different brand deals on the site. It's golfersunite.com. Evan, as we kind of talk a little bit about the Live aspect, what impact from the PGA perspective do you think this whole experiment has done for them? Do you think it's been beneficial? Do you think it's beneficial to the industry? I personally think it's been good, at least eye-opening for them.
Yeah, I think overall it's been net positive, Jeff. I think that it forced, competition is a great thing in general, right? And what it did is it forced the PGA Tour to look in the mirror and to think about how they could continually and consistently deliver the best product of professional golf to golf fans, and be attractive to their players, right? And I think that is a net positive thing. I think anytime anybody running a business gets complacent, or they start to feel like they're in a position where they don't need to defend, then the product suffers, right? And ultimately, in this case, the fans would suffer, and the players would suffer. And so I think overall it's a net positive that it pushed the PGA Tour into one, to seek outside capital with the Strategic Sports Group coming in, which are a group of really sophisticated sports investors that could push on the product and put the fan at the center of everything they do, which is, I think, something the PGA Tour has maybe historically struggled with. And so I think it ultimately will and has resulted in an incrementally better product from the PGA Tour. Now, there's a lot that we could talk about, of like the missteps that have happened over the years, both on the tour side and with Live. But overall, it seems like the tour now, maybe more than in recent past, is thinking about like how to deliver a great product for the fan. And if they're thinking through that, and Brian Rillap said it in one of his last press conferences, that the sports business is not that complicated. If you think through what's most interesting and best for the fan, you'll probably do okay, right? And I think that's where the tour is obviously thinking through. And a lot of that, I think, came as a result of Live and the big splash that they made, and attracting some really top tier talent away from the tour, and forcing them to be critical about the product they were delivering.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty good assessment. This is Evan Roosevelt, co-founder and managing partner of Old Tom Capital. You were talking about the finances and the industry of golf in itself and the big money. One of the things that we talked with offline, Evan, prior to our doing the show here today is, the opportunity for, investors that like golf, but, don't have billions of dollars or millions and millions of dollars to put into this. And you had mentioned that you have a program that I'd like to have you share for those that, might want to get into golf, but just doesn't have that big blank checks to work with. This is Jeff Stanislaw, your host of Let's Go Low right here on AM 820. I'm talking to Evan Roosevelt, co-founder of Old Tom Capital. Now, I think you called this group the club, right? Why don't you tell us a little bit about the club and how, maybe it's like more of like an angel investor type?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's a good way to think about it, Jeff. And we do a lot as a firm because all we do is invest in golf. We do everything from early stage through majority buyout and acquisition. And in a narrow category, we have a really wide aperture about how we think about investors, LPs that come into things we do. So we have a group we call the club. You can find it on our website. And essentially, it's an angel investor club. It's member based. You have to be an accredited investor. But once you're in, we share opportunities that we're working on, small minimum check sizes, and it allows folks to get involved in what we think are some of the most interesting, exciting, and high growth businesses in golf. And so take a look on the website, and excited to keep growing that group of great investors. And what's cool about it, I think, is that everyone that's in there is a golfer themselves. And so right now we're looking at a agronomy investment in an agronomy company, and our members have been able to walk that into the superintendents at the clubs they play and kick the tires on it themselves. But I think investing in a passion category like golf is a little bit different as an investor, because you can like touch it and taste it and feel it, and you kind of understand the companies and the opportunities at a deeper level than if you're looking at kind of an apartment building or some other things.
Yeah, exactly. It's a little bit different, but there's a lot of golfers out there passionate about it. It's a love investment for many of the golfers, especially kind of in that angel investment space, which the club, if you guys want to check it out, and reach out to Evan, you can go to oldtomcapital.com. That's oldtomcapital.com. This is Jeff Stanislaw, your host of the Let's Go Low show right here on AM 820 every Saturday morning at 8 a.m. We appreciate you listeners coming in and hearing this great stuff. We always have our caddy corners with Payne Stewart's caddy, Mike Hicks, and great guests, including our friend Evan Roosevelt, the co-founder of Old Tom Capital, who we're talking to right now. This segment is brought to you by Golfers Unite. Check out golfersunite.com. We got 18 brand deals. We have a free membership. You get access to 4 of those. And if you want the premium membership, it's only $30 for the year. You get access to 14 more brand deals. So, you get to pay for yourself, especially for the free one. But Evan, let's talk about another exciting group that you've been a part of or made some type of investment into, and that's the Grass League. This is, if you haven't heard about it, it's kind of taken another little different angle on golf, but it's really exciting. Why don't you tell us a little bit about the Grass League and what you guys have been a part of from there?
Yeah, it's another, thanks, Jeff. To your point, it's another alternative league in golf. So it's a high stakes professional golf league that plays exclusively on par 3 and under the lights. And so what's interesting about it is, it's started by some guys out in Scottsdale. They have a course out there called Grass Clippings. What's cool about it is that it is like high octane competition. When you think about professional golf and you're watching it, the majority of shots they show are within 150 yards. It's guys hitting greens, gals hitting greens, making putts. And what's cool about the Grass League is that there is real parity in competition. And so when you're playing from 150 yards and in, there's LPGA players out there. Gabby Ruffles won the championship last year. There's elite amateurs. There's Corn Ferry and mini tour players. There's just like plus handicaps can all be competitive from the same tee box. and it gets, the competition gets really tight. And so what we love about it is that they're approaching professional golf from a different angle. It's it's Coachella meets a golf tournament out there. It appeals to a different demographic that maybe just golf curious or just getting into golf, but then the competition is real, and the stakes are high. And so we led their last investment round. We've gotten really involved with the league and helping them continue to scale up. And unlike Live and what we just talked about, they have the benefit of growing organically and building an organic fan base and real fandom at the franchise level. A lot of celebrities and interesting folks involved. Good owns a team. Dave Roberts, the GM of the Dodgers, owns a team. A lot of energy, and the events are a lot of fun. Highly recommend attending.
Well, this is Evan Roosevelt. Thanks for joining us today, Evan, co-founder of Old Tom Capital. If you want to check out more on the Grass League and some other deals that they've been a part of, they also have kind of an angel investment group called The Club. You can go to oldtomcapital.com. I'd love to have you back, Evan. We'll dive in a little bit further on some more of these deals. This is another episode of the Let's Go Low Show, brought to you by Golfers Unite. Check out golfersunite.com, and thanks for listening, Tampa Bay.
Thanks.